I'm doing fine. So leave me alone, so leave me alone, so leave me alone, I'm doing fine. So leave me alone, so leave me alone, so leave me alone, I'm doing fine. So leave me alone, so leave me alone, so leave me alone, I'm doing fine. So leave me alone, so leave me alone, so leave me alone, leave me alone.
Hey Terry, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Zach? How are you, man?
I'm doing okay. And look who's with us. Hi, Jason Rantz. Why is your
muted?
Jason, fix your computer. For God's sakes, be a pro. Just be a pro.
Well, if nothing else, Jason always makes me feel underdressed.
Jason, I have to admit, is a well-dressed person, and I don't like saying that because I don't really like paying him any sort of compliments because he is total trash. You
can talk about since he's muted.
How about now?
There you go, Jason.
There he is.
Well, you know what? In my defense, you have a new system that I have not used before.
Yeah, we bailed on StreamYard to get very inside, but this is it's called Restream. You might want to check it out. It's a lot cheaper and better.
I don't want to check that out.
You might want to check it out. Maybe it'll be
on Fox. He doesn't need to stream.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he talks to millions. Well, Jason, maybe it'll be in your Hanukkah stocking tonight.
Hanukkah's over, and we don't have stockings.
Hanukkah ends tonight. That was my understanding from Googling Hanukkah.
Hanukkah's last night was last night.
Last night was the last night?
Yes.
Are you sure?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No, it is tonight.
Okay, I thought so.
But I like giving you a hard time because you have no idea what Hanukkah is. And you're not the only person, the only goyim in my life who has asked about Hanukkah.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought that you maybe want to come on and talk about it because it's such a damn important holiday for the Jewish people.
It is one of the least important holidays.
It is?
All of it. In fact, it might actually be the least important. It is based in an interesting story and an interesting bit of history for the Jewish people, but it's not. The way Hanukkah has sort of developed is mostly because it happens around the same time as Christians or Christmas. Mm-hmm. And so Jews don't like to see all the Christians get together and open your gifts on one day. And so we're all like, well, we actually have kind of a celebratory 8 days around this time of year. I know what we can do. Let's one up, not by just 2 nights or 3 or 4, 8 crazy nights of goodness.
Unbelievable. And I think that Hanukkah is really, if you ask most Christians, it is your Christmas, which doesn't make any sense. But I'm looking at a film description, Jason, of so Hallmark got a lot of shit last year for not being diverse enough. Hallmark, as you know, makes like 35 Christmas movies every single year.
Not diverse enough for the complete lack of diverse audience it has, by the way. It's all 53-year-old white women and you with cats.
Yes, not untrue. But I have a cousin this year who played a gay Jewish firefighter, and that's not a joke.
I was offended.
Literally his role. And then this year, for the first time, I believe, Jason.
He's a heterosexual, wasn't he?
As you should be. Those roles should go to you.
Clearly.
He's heterosexual, and if there's anyone who's underrepresented in Hollywood, it's definitely Jewish people, which is not fair. For the first time this year, they put out a Hanukkah movie. And Jason, it's called Love Lights Hanukkah. And here, the plot line is, a restaurateur receives a DNA test revealing that she's Jewish, which I didn't know, like 23andMe would tell you that. I didn't know there was Jewish DNA.
Of course.
Maybe that's new to you as well.
Well,
is there? I guess so. I mean, I know that it pinpoints a certain region that someone is from, but I didn't know.
There's 2 ways to be a Jew, right? So you can convert,
yeah,
or it's through the bloodline.
Yeah.
So your mother is Jewish. So I'm assuming you're tracing it to a region, which if you were born there and they're because don't they also do? Oh no, am I thinking Ancestry?
Ancestry would make more sense because then you're actually you're pinpointing specific people. This
Okay,
is just
never mind.
looking at her DNA.
Okay, I thought it tracks you down to a region, and then it looks up your.
I would think they do that.
Okay, never mind.
I would think they do that with the DNA as well. They have a way
you can do it, but yeah, obviously you can do it. Yeah.
So who knows? Everyone watch. Maybe you're Jewish. Get a test. You might be celebrating the wrong holiday. But I do kind of feel stupid in that, yeah, Christmas is a big deal, obviously, in both in religious terms and secular terms. So we reach out to the Jewish people like, oh, it's great that you have this big deal around the same time too. It's fantastic. She learns this discovery leads her to a new family and an unlikely romance over guess how long? 8 nights.
Magical 8 nights.
A magical 8 nights.
Is that like a long-term relationship for like Gen Xers at this point?
I guess so.
8 nights without getting ghosted.
And this movie stars Ben Savage, who you remember from Boy Meets World.
Yes, I like.
Yes, and I can't figure out now if it's a sign that your career is really, really struggling if you're starring in one of these movies, or you might just be fortunate enough to get placed into this community because you're guaranteed like 3 or 4 roles every year. They bang this stuff out in 2 weeks.
It's tricky because Aubrey Plaza did the Grumpy Cat movie. So I mean,
well, I don't want to get nitpicky, Jason, but that was Lifetime, and that's a whole different game.
Lifetime and Hallmark are totally
the same. It's the same thing.
It's not the same. It's not. Let me claim ownership of this knowledge: is that Lifetime Christmas movies and Hallmark Christmas movies are significantly different. For instance, you will recognize up to 5 or 6 actors in every Lifetime movie. At best, you sort of vaguely kind of remember somebody. Have to look up their IMDb page to remember why. In any of the Hallmark movies.
Fair enough.
Jason.
Before you get off Hanukkah, I don't know if you were about to get off Hanukkah. I have to ask both of you this question: have you guys seen the Smokey Robinson clip about Hanukkah? You guys familiar with the Cameo app, where you get celebrities to do Cameo?
Yep, I've used it.
Whatever. Somebody asked Smokey Robinson to do a Hanukkah shout out for their mother. Have any of you seen that?
No.
Can he pronounce it? Because how is it spelled?
I'm going to tag both of you on Twitter later on so you can see it and have the chuckle for yourself. But basically, if anybody's out there that's not familiar with Cameo, you can get a celebrity to give you a shout out, make a video for you, whatever it may be, for like 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. You pay them to do it.
Yeah.
So they paid Smokey Robinson to give a Hanukkah shout out to his mother. And he was like, hey, John, whatever your name is, I guess you say your mother grew up in my neighborhood. I don't remember. Whatever. Good to talk to you again. But anyways, they wanted me to tell you, happy Chanukah. Yeah. Happy Chanukah to you, Lisa.
Yes,
and happy Chanukah.
Now, in fairness, the CH spelling is incorrect. And is very confusing to someone who probably would know if you told him Hanukkah. He probably would have a better frame of reference for it than Chanukah.
You would think Smokey Robinson's been around.
I'm sure he's heard of Hanukkah. Yeah, throwing that CH in front of it. Yeah,
Hanukkah is spelled Hanukkah, not CHA.
It's in the title.
CHA is sort of the Americanized version that stupid people use to spell it.
But it's Chanukah.
I do like it. Okay. I mean, maybe it's a new. Hey, how about this? Is probably on you. You wanted it for Chanukah.
Joke's on you, T.
Well, it's a much better cameo. Smokey Robinson is a legend, and that's really sad. And he plays that crappy casino in Tacoma like 5 times a year too. What a sad ending. Jason, I feel like that you are now of a certain fame level. You could probably pull in some bucks with Cameo. I bet I could see some Fox News loyalists getting the guy from Tucker Carlson. Yeah. Just charge like $50. They're like 30 seconds. When I interviewed Chris Kattan, I watched him bang out like 6 and he made like $400 in 12 minutes.
No.
Why wouldn't you do it, Jason?
A new level of sad.
There's some legit famous people on there.
I did it.
Yeah,
it's like
good. Then they can do it. I'm out. Not interested. I don't like small talk. I'm definitely not creating the new version of doing answering machine messages for people, because that's really what this is.
They do birth announcements. They do,
Well, they write the whole thing for you, though.
or mitzvahs.
Yeah, I don't want to do it.
It's a
Yeah,
great
I don't know why I'm trying to convince
dream.
you to do it. It's
Yeah, why
weird.
would you do that? You're not getting.
I don't know
money,
why.
Agent.
I get nothing. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't. There's nothing in it for me.
Weirdo.
Jason, before you go, tell me about what happened this morning in Seattle. From what I've been reading on Twitter, a bunch of fascist brown shirts stomped into Cal Anderson Park in the middle of Seattle and kicked out a bunch of very, very sad people who had just simply wanted a place to live. Accurate?
Yeah, that's all that. Of course, look, the breakaway nation of Chaz had dissolved over the summer of love, right? And it's people.
Oh my God, are you still using that term?
It's people have been searching for this new home, right? And some have obviously settled in Seattle. Some of them went back to their parents' home in Kirkland and Mercer Island, because that's really where they're all from. And some just really never found a place. So they went back to Cal Anderson Park, where they resettled. They put up this barrier once it became pretty clear that the city of Seattle was going to go in and start to clean it up. And then there was this lawsuit that didn't go anywhere. Seattle PD came in today. It was actually kind of funny, because at one point, as they were pushing everybody out and they were doing the cleanup, and they did everything appropriately. They gave everyone fair warning. They've given everybody days worth of warning to move, and no one decided to move until the very last minute. But at some point, they were already half done. The cavalry arrived of Antifa members. They came running down. I don't remember whatever that side street was off of a Cal Anderson Park. They came running down with their umbrellas, and everyone in the crowd was cheering, and there was only like 20 of them. And then immediately the cops were like, move, and they just pushed everyone forward, and that was it. It just they put up no resistance other than taunting like they normally do, and yelling insults and weirdly homophobic stuff too, which is kind of funny from the woke people. Just like, we can't wait till you go to jail.
Really?
And get creeped in the bleep. Like, okay, that's very funny.
Yeah.
It is just kind of weird.
Yeah, that is surprising.
It is super weird. And I noticed it the last time, but I thought maybe it's just like one crazy dude. This time, it was a lot of people were saying that. They were basically using it as a way to demean the police officers by being like, yeah, you're going to go to jail and get, sodomized, like stuff like that. But obviously, I don't know what that term actually means. They use the vulgar word.
Get her into that.
How many members of Antifa you think you could fight at the same time? A dozen?
Me?
Any of us? I mean, I feel like they're
like legit.
The weird thing about
are the weakest people in the world. I mean,
well, I still think that the best description of them comes from Trevor Noah. Still feels like the new host of The Daily Show when he called them vegan ISIS, which is hysterical. That is a very apt description.
They're not as menacing as ISIS, even as vegans. I mean, the thing is with them, the only way that they have any legit threat and power is when, number one, you give it to them, right? Like when a city just basically says, we're not going to do anything, and they get to organize and throw stuff at cops and give them weapons and allow them to do it. Or when they attack you and you're literally not looking. So when a cop gets hit in the head, the back of the head with a bat by some loser weakling from Kirkland, it's because he wasn't facing the guy.
Why do you think they're all from Kirkland?
He's literally from Kirkland.
Okay, so the one guy was from Kirkland, which is where you probably covered Chop, what happened this morning from, right? You were all the way out in Kirkland pretending you were near the action.
I was in there.
Sure.
His middle name is Dangerous.
Sure it is.
Jason Dangerous.
It's actually Detective Rantz.
I've
got all my video and photos from this morning. I was there live, got there with Hannah Scott from our sister station, Cairo.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there, I think we got there around 6:45-ish or so. Cops showed up the cops made their move at about, I want to say 7:15-ish.
This is all making me feel so Christmassy. Do you feel? I know that you're not a Christian, Jason, but you get into the Christmas spirit when you see something like that happen this morning.
You feel
just kind of fills you with that magic.
It did warm my soul. There was I did see a tent with a Christmas wreath on it, And I was thinking someone probably passes that and says, "Oh, that's sweet," without realizing there's someone literally inside suffering and is probably dead because we didn't put them indoors.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know if you had a chance to see this, Zach, but maybe Jason, you can chime in on this. Did you get a chance to see Eric Johnson's special?
Yeah,
I have not yet.
You did? You saw it as well, Zach?
I have not seen it yet.
Okay. Well, I tuned in and watched it from beginning to end last weekend, and I have different thoughts on it. Probably different than what you might think, anyways. For the most part. But Jason, what did you think? What do you think of the coverage? Did you think it was fair? Because there's actually been a lot of uproar about it around the area.
I feel like there's less
size of it.
I feel like there's less uproar this time than the first time, for sure. I don't know why they keep just unveiling these things on like a Saturday night. Like no one's watching a 90-minute homeless documentary on Como on a Saturday night, except for Terry. Only because you're not watching Lifetime and Hallmark like Zach. Look, it has a perspective, right? It should. That is a mainstream perspective. It's a legitimate perspective. You can't make up the images. People can pretend all they want that it's not easy to find every single video that they include in every single documentary that they create. I've seen some folks on Twitter, like when I'll post a whole bunch of homeless people, they'll post like a photo that was taken 12 years ago that they just stole from the UW's website, like a promo shot of the courtyard. It's like, yeah, see, you had to go back and find that. I took that today. The photo I just posted was literally today.
Jason and I once went to a movie together, and we passed a homeless encampment, and he's like, "Can you take a picture of that? Or I'm going to use it for my blog." Yeah. Well, on our way to see Good Boys.
Because it's everywhere. But there's so many people who want to pretend though that like, oh,
neither side is right.
They're framing it in a way to make it worse than it is. No, it's bad. It's really bad.
It's bad, but I didn't think Seattle is Dying was even, it shouldn't even be described as a documentary other than, it doesn't have paid actors in it. Although, some are claiming that it does. But it's definitely, it doesn't just seek to cover what's happening. It has a thesis and then finds footage to prove that thesis. I think that's the problem that I have with it. That being said,
by the way, the people who take that position love Michael Moore documentaries. They love them.
Nobody likes Michael Moore anymore.
Oh,
how old are you? It's a very old reference.
Okay,
Blame for Columbine is like 30 years old.
I don't watch any of the. Well, he just had a movie out, didn't he, last year?
Nobody knows this anymore.
That's true. I don't watch documentaries.
I mean, can it be considered an editorial piece? Like when you pick up a newspaper and see something that's an editorial piece, okay, I get there's probably some truth to it.
Well, documentaries can be editorial. I mean, so there are different kinds of documentaries, right? So there's we're literally just documenting something, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the purest form. Those, depending on the subject matter and where you happen to be at the moment, those can be really, really interesting.
A good example, March of the Penguins. That was just documenting, that was just documenting the Penguins doing their march. That was a pure documentary. An editorial one is, like you mentioned, Michael Moore's. He had he wanted to prove guns were bad, GM was bad, whatever.
There's value to both. When you do an editorial, at least for me, I'll judge it differently, obviously. Number one, if I agree, or if you make your argument in an effective way, I'm going to judge it a little bit differently. And then I am going to judge like the entertainment factor. What was the free solo?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an editorial per se, but I mean, it had an agenda, right? Which is to show you one particular type of style and why this is better than okay, fine.
What did you think of it, Terry?
Well, when I see the piece, I don't get the opinion. I don't get the feeling that Eric Johnson is really trying to shit on Seattle. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a person that really loves Seattle. He loves the way Seattle felt and looked 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It was, I'm kind of sent to be a wake-up call. The problem is, like you guys were saying, I don't think it gives a full and accurate description of everything that's going on, but everything that he did show, does go on down there.
It did happen. Well, the problem too is the source.
it's happening.
But what's missing from your perspective on this particular issue? Because obviously their point was they were trying to address the drug aspect of the homelessness crisis.
Right.
And he mentioned in this piece, and certainly when I talk about it, I do the same thing, which is it the majority? No, but it's about 25% according to low estimates coming from the city and the county of chronic homeless. The people that we're talking about who are driving all of these issues are addicted or dealing with some sort of mental illness, and usually there's an overlap there. That's what the focus was. So what was missing in your view from that perspective?
From that perspective, I think it was fair. I think there is crime being committed down there, and I think the root cause of it is homelessness, poverty, and drugs. So I believe that that's where it all stems from. I think what I want more of is some solution-oriented things. And again, I wouldn't know where to begin. If I did, I probably would be down there trying to put my 2 cents in.
That though, right? I mean, they spent 2 rather large chunks on what they viewed as a solution, and I actually think it's a good idea. This all-inclusive, they called it was Hope Center. I can't remember, Hope something. An all-inclusive place where it's basically on one side you've got the prison style where someone who is strung out of their mind, they need to detox, they need to be in a high security area. The other side is spending 6 months to a year getting all that you need to get your life back in order, from the further therapy that you might need, the medication you might need, the mental health treatment you might, all of that stuff on the other side. That was one way that they can address it, and they did, I think, address it. Whether or not you think that's the best way, that's clearly subjective. But
how do we implement all that though? At this point, that's my question. Like, how do we move forward with it? Because nothing that they've done in the past decade works.
But you're not going to get it from the city. The city will not do that. The city
can't afford to do that. The city does not have. I don't think that you realize how expensive this form of treatment would be.
I know
there would be public frustration because there would still be relapses.
Go in and look at the numbers of money, the actual dollars that they've spent over the course of, we're now into year 16 of their 10-year plan to end homelessness. Look at the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent. You could have committed
over 16 years is not that much compared to what your plan is.
But that is absolutely.
And then you want to talk about the honeypot effect, which is fake, but I know you believe in it.
You're talking about 25% of about 1,200 to 1,600 chronically homeless people. Okay, that's you can do that in a way.
So you have to be homeless to get enrolled in this program.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think you just have to be one of the people who are chronic criminals. They just they tend to be homeless in the way that we're talking about. Because obviously, if you're someone if you're dealing with a combination of mental health issues and a severe addiction, right, and you're constantly committing crimes, chances are you don't have a stable job or a stable home.
Yes.
The part about that too that was disturbing to me is watching people who commit 40 and 50 felonies. I don't know how is that possible? Like, and again, I'm not trying to crap on anybody, but how is it possible to commit 30 and 40 felonies and still be walking around?
Really easy. And by the way, Francisco Calderon, who I believe is on number 76 convictions. Travis Berge, who was the homeless guy who murdered his girlfriend at Cal Anderson Park mid-September, he was at, I believe, 24 convictions. So you have 2 different problems. Number one is we don't involuntarily commit people who need it. And so all we do is we tell these people, we need you to go ahead and go get treatment. And then they don't get treatment. And then they break the law again. And then we say, you need to go get treatment. And then they don't get treatment. And then they do it again. And then you have no judge or very few judges who are willing to just throw them in jail, not for the crime of being sick, but to protect everybody, including themselves. Because at some point you do have to do that. Travis Berge killed someone because he wasn't getting the help that they were offering to him over and over and over again. Now, he would not have killed someone if he was in jail at that moment, which he should have been.
Yes, but I don't think you can use an anecdotal reference like that to describe a widespread problem. You can give me 24 names and it's still anecdotal.
we can give you dozens and dozens well, how about this? We can give you 112 names, which are the names as a part of the prolific offender issue. 112 or 100, something like that, are responsible for a huge portion, the disproportionate number of the repeat crimes that we see in Seattle that all of us continue to talk about. The ones that you keep seeing people breaking into businesses and stealing stuff and attacking people at random. I think they represented something like 600 and change different convictions, those same people. So if you attacked that group of 100, just say 100, that would have some meaningful results to quality of life and to crime in the center, the core of Seattle. That's meaningful. You can call it anecdotal. Okay, fine.
It is anecdotal, and no one would notice, other than the direct victims of those crimes. And unfortunately, in a big city, there is a crime like that. Then why doesn't someone have a piece of legislation to deal with those 112 people if they are statistically, according to you, such a big part of the problem?
Because in this city, do you think that this council has any inkling towards going towards policing and going towards the justice system? Or do they hold an ideological position that the justice system is inherently racist and inherently ised and suffers from isms and is part of a system of oppression and needs to be dismantled and redone?
But I feel like that's localizing it and putting it the easiest blame on the crazy city clay. Yeah, but I know, in every city there is something. Okay, I understand. But this has been a problem since before this current council, and the city council has not always been this bonkers. I will agree with you that the Seattle City Council is trash. It's awful. But this is a problem that was a problem long before any of them swore their oath to office, which I feel like they violate all the time. But
that has gotten considerably worse and worse and worse every single year as the council has gotten more ideological. That's true.
Is there any chance that the city council will ever be disbanded? The city council that we know it as it is today, that Seattle will eventually vote them out?
At some point, if you hit rock bottom, I suppose, as a city, I just don't know.
Seattle's almost like, any sort of recession proof when you're talking about, just with all the tech hubs. But so we'll never hit to the point where it's like, vote the bastards out. Well, Jason, have a great last night of Hanukkah. I'm glad to fill you in that you have another 12 hours to celebrate. So have fun.
I will.
I pirated a copy of the Hanukkah movie. I'll send it to you.
It's done at, what's it called? It's done at sunset.
Well, I don't know. That's why we have you. I don't know when it ends.
You are a resident Jewish guy.
I'm your token, okay? I know how it feels. You know how it feels.
We're like a running joke right now. There was a white guy, a black guy, and a Jew.
And we walked into a Zoom call. Okay. Bye, everyone.
All right. Yeah. Well, Jason's like our Sammy Davis. We take care of two minorities with him. All right, dude. I know everybody's got to run. I got to run too. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you again on Tuesday.
That's right.
I see the Christmas tree over your right shoulder, and it looks fantastic. It looks good. There. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Love the way the Holloman house is.
Pleasant there too.
All right, man. Well, have a great weekend. 1 week till Christmas. If anyone's looking for any gift ideas, I am very into cash this year.
It's always the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
It never gets old.
All right. See you, buddy. Have a great weekend.
All right.